Eddie Williams opened the door for what SEAA has become. In the 1970s, there wasn't a lot of concern about safety. His vision and the example the founding companies set established the tone and goal of the organization from that day forward. Competitors are able to come together for a common cause. Bob Beckner, Peterson Beckner Industries. According to Eddie Williams, after OSHA was enacted, no one was speaking on behalf of small steel erectors, which needed a voice in the industry. This became the impetus behind the forming of the Steel Erectors Association of the Carolinas. Getting the association off the ground would not have been possible without the hard work of Ruth Vickers and Ellen Cheek. Sonny McIver, president in 1974 and again in 1978, said that there were difficult times in the beginning trying to survive, establishing bylaws, and recruiting other companies to join. Eddie Williams credits Ruth and Ellen with providing the support that got much of that work done. Just 2 years after forming, the association makes its first expansion. In 1974, with the addition of members from Virginia, the association changes its name to the Steel Erectors Association of Virginia and the Carolinas. One of the hot topics in the mid-1970s to mid-1980s had to do with communication with fabricators and back charges. According to Eddie Williams, the GCs contracted separately with the fabricators and erectors. This created much miscommunication, which often directly affected the work performed by the erector. When steel wasn't fabricated correctly, the erector would send back charges for the extra work, but often the fabricator would only agree to pay about half the amount. The association helped to change that. We started attracting fabricators as members, which improved communication between us. When I interviewed Eddie Williams about some of his favorite memories, he shared the following story, although he tells it better than I do. Eddie said, "We had several conventions on Emerald Isle in North Carolina. We always did some kind of fun activity like playing beach volleyball. One year we decided to have a bathing beauty contest. Each company had a guy that dressed up with balloons in all the proper places. There was an off-duty deputy that served as security for the motel. I got him to pretend to arrest one of the guys for indecent exposure. Before I knew it, they'd thrown him in the pool, and wouldn't you know it, when he got out, his holster was empty. His gun was in the bottom of the pool. We had to collect enough money from the group to go get his gun cleaned." Best practices have always been one of the primary benefits of membership. Whether it was help with basic business operations, as Sonny McIver noted, creating awareness of safety issues, or implementing new technologies, sharing ideas and best practices remains a core value of the association today. It was the 1980s, the early days of mobile phones. Jim Larson, Eddie Williams, Chip Pocock, and others were traveling on association business in Jim's RV. As it turns out, both L.R. Wilson and Buckner were bidding on the same project. During the trip, Eddie and Jim tried to find some privacy from each other to work on their bids. Jim had brought his fancy bag phone. Unbeknownst to him, Eddie borrowed it. Later, when Jim got the phone bill, there were several calls to a number he didn't recognize. He called the number, and the voice on the other end answered, "C.P. Buckner." As it turns out, Jim wasn't too sore over it because L.R. Wilson ultimately won the contract. 1992. The association changes its name to the Steel Erectors Association of America. Today we have members in 42 states and 1 Canadian province. The trade show has been an important part of convention for nearly 30 years, including the added benefit of seeing actual equipment and live demos. According to Jim Larson, president in 1993 and 1994, SEAA has shown that our organization and member companies have the ability and desire to address issues and develop solutions by sharing information. 2 examples are multiple lift rigging, or Christmas treeing, and joist erection bridging. SEAA's legacy is improving the ironworking trade both with government regulations as well as with organized labor, which took humor as well as long hours of negotiation. When asked how SEAA has helped the industry, Tom Underhill, president from 1997 to 1998, said that during the rewrite of the steel erection standards, which would later become 1926 Subpart R, that SEAA did not have a seat at the table, although several of our board members attended the meetings and contributed to the final product. One of Kevin Dempsey's favorite memories was a last-minute trip to Washington, D.C. to meet with OSHA about the Subpart R rulemaking. He said, "I received a call late one afternoon from Jim Larson informing me that Department of Labor wanted to meet with us the next day at 9 a.m. I think they thought we would not show up, but they underestimated our commitment. The rulemaking committee was not including input from small erectors. They were trying to make the rule be one size fit for all. The input from our members changed that concept." Kevin Dempsey, President, 1995 to 1996. As the regulatory environment becomes ever more stringent, training tops the list of hot topics in the early 2000s. John Garrison said, "The industry was shifting its mentality about being afraid to spend money on training and being afraid that your competitor would just snipe away your workers, to realizing that training is good for the industry as a whole." Garrison, who was president from 2001 to 2002, remains involved with the Iron Worker Skills Institute. A relationship with NCCER, one that continues today, is the major accomplishment for which Tom Underhill is most proud. He said, "During my term, we developed a relationship with NCCER. I signed the contract to contribute $125,000 to assist in updating the ironworker craft training books and promoting the steel erection industry. We made $25,000 payments over 5 years. It wasn't until my time as executive director that SEAA reconnected with NCCER to start the SEAA craft training program. I signed that contract as well. We were very fortunate that NCCER recommended Tim Eldridge to be our consultant." SEAA's awards program, first implemented by Bruce Baisden, who was president in 2005 and 2006, has continued to grow. In addition to Project of the Year, we now also recognize members for safety and training excellence. We would be remiss, however, if we did not recognize the namesake of the William Davis Service Award. William Davis owned Newell Davis, an industrial equipment and rigging supply company. He was the association's most effective recruiter of new members and longtime chair of the membership committee. Described as a good friend and a good listener, the award was created to honor individuals for many years of dedicated service to the association. The year was 2008, the Great Recession. With the loss of many skilled workers and struggling businesses, the association's focus shifts. Duff Zimmerman, president 2009 to 2010, said SEAA was focusing on giving members guidance on how to downsize, how to adjust to changes in the marketplace. We had presentations on finances and cash flow. We were worried we would have a huge drop-off in membership during this time. We worked hard to stay in touch with all the members, and we actively recruited erectors in states where we didn't have any members to try to get some new ones. The talent had left and never came back to the trades. In the 1990s, the issue was improving safety, but in the new millennium, after 2008 especially, training became critical to upskilling the people you had. Josh Seeley, President, 2016 and 2017. Stephen Burkholder, President from 2013 to 2015, is most proud of the implementation of the SEAA NCCER Ironworker Craft Training Program. He said, in order to get enough qualified workers, we have to provide a path to prepare new people as they come into the industry. That work continues today with dozens of members implementing the program and ongoing work to add new curriculum for fabricators and reinforcing steel ironworkers. 2020, the not-so-distant past. The world is in the grips of a global pandemic. Jeff Kress, President, 2020 and 2021, said, "During my first year as president, nearly everything we did was done virtually. We were forced to find new ways to work, which ultimately has made the organization stronger than ever, with projects moving forward rather than getting tabled." Perhaps that's the silver lining as far as SEAA is concerned. We are fine-tuning our processes and positioning the organization for continued growth into the future.